Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom with Jr. Wanted to provide a little more detail about the EU loan deal and what I think is a main driver of this. It's some comments from Macron from France, and he had just stressed how absolutely vital it was that they get something done this week. And the reason for that is they need to step up and show that they can go it alone without the United States. Donald Trump's not going to be there. Even if he says he's going to be there, tomorrow he's going to say he won't. There's nothing the United States can do over the next 3 years to undo what Donald Trump has already done as far as the relationships with our allies around the world go. His word is absolutely meaningless, and even if he signs something, even if he agrees to something, tomorrow he will absolutely go back on his word. He will just say, "I'm not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. You did this, you did that." So that is why it was so critical for the Europeans to come up with a way to move ahead without the U.S. And the thing that Macron said after the deal was done, he said, this is something from the Financial Times, which is, I think, the money quote where he urged European leaders to speak directly to Moscow and play a role. He said, "In the coming weeks, we need to find ways and means so that Europeans in the right organization can re-engage in a complete dialogue with Russia. Otherwise, we are discussing among ourselves with negotiators who will only discuss with each other. This is not optimal." And what he's talking about is the current situation, that Donald Trump's administration are the only people allowed to negotiate directly with Russia and Ukraine. There is not another entity talking to both sides directly. So anything anyone says has to go through Donald Trump. And how are the Europeans going to be a part of anything as long as that is the case? Now, what this deal does is it shows Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin that the Europeans, in fact, do need to be a part of any negotiation. To this point, they have not. And Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin have just been talking over their heads. This says, you know what, guys? You can talk over our heads all you want, but Ukraine is not going to surrender, and they don't have to. Just because Donald Trump tells them they do, we have just showed you that they don't. They've got all the money they need for 2 years. They've got a lot of weapons coming from us. They can sustain themselves going forward. It is absolutely critical to any future negotiations. Witkoff and Jared Kushner negotiating with the Russians directly, as they're expected to do in Miami this weekend. That is not, these are real estate developers. Are they humanitarian experts? Are they nation builders? They're real estate developers. They're the same ones that are involved in Middle Eastern talks as well. But Donald Trump, that's all he understands is crooked, underhanded real estate dealings. Look at his ballroom, which is now gone from 100 million to 400 million that he's talking about. And I saw someone saying something about just a pure money laundering operation. That's all it is. If you can say, oh, this thing costs, well, the government has to write a check for 400 million now, or some other organization, private donors, have to pay up for 400 million. Like, what are they getting for their 400 million in this ballroom? It doesn't make any sense. It's just pure money laundering. So that's what would happen to Ukraine if it's left to the real estate developers, Donald Trump and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Just cannot happen. The Europeans need to take part in this directly. And as a result of this deal, having Ukraine be self-sustaining for the next 2 years, Russia's coming up on 4 years since their invasion. And I saw where they had gained 1% of Ukrainian territory this entire year, 2025. That's why they're trying to get Donald Trump at the stroke of a pen to have Ukraine just officially hand over 20% of his country. a good part of that 20% that Russia is asking for is currently occupied by Russia, but not all of it, not by a long shot. So that's not happening right now. The Europeans really understand this really well. And I'm just super excited they got this deal now ahead of the Miami talks between Kushner and Witkoff and Russia. That's just going nowhere. We all know this. And it says, you know what, if you want to have a peace deal, it's going to have to include the Europeans. That's what this says. That's what Macron was talking about. That's what I think is one of the more important aspects of this deal. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you'll give it a like and subscribe, that would be great. And hang in there. I know I am redirecting this channel to be more internationally focused. I just think that ultimately that matters more than how Trump effed up today, because he's doing it all day, every day. As entertaining as that is, it's all over the place. You can fill 10 lifetimes with how Trump screwed up today and what an idiot he is and how he makes no sense and how he's falling asleep. And that's all true. I don't need to cover it. So we'll talk to you all later, and